on window frames like this with these latches. We like to remove the latches, the part of the latch that's touching the glass, so then we can get the tint behind it and we don't have to cut around it. And again, it makes for a perfect install. So when we're done, it looks like glass. Now normally on these, I would line up the factory edge on the top and then cut the bottom, but because we have the latch here, I'm going to try and just line up the bottom and then cut all the other sides. Relief cut. That was a little much. Just fine. This isn't going to take long at all.
No.
To tint, And see, I usually try to line up two sides by pushing it against the top and the left side, but I got a big gap that starts up here and then gets thin, so something's not square. So we're just gonna cut 3 sides instead of 2. So now I'm just lining up the top. Everything else will get trimmed to be perfect. I'm gonna scoot that back just out here. There we go. There we go. There's our friend. Hey buddy, follow us on YouTube. Where you going? No, wait, where are you going? Oh, hi. That's what you want. Get it out. try to get as much of it off dry before I put any liquid on there, because that starts to make stuff stick and go around. Oh yeah. Okay. Let me show you why tint from Amazon can be really dangerous. First off, we're in a brand new baby's nursery. It's hot in here. We got west facing windows. They've done everything they know to do to try and cool it off. They got the curtains.
I was looking for that. Thought I got that out of here. Sorry.
What is it? What'd you do?
Bag of dirty diapers.
Ew, gross, I almost stepped on it.
Trash runs today.
They're not gonna take that. That's biohazard. So first line of defense, curtains. You'd think that'll help with heat. The thing about curtains is, if you're in front of it, they make you feel cooler. Meanwhile, the heat is still coming through the windows, making it into the house and just hanging out back here. And then eventually that will just radiate into the room. So you're not really stopping heat, you're just holding it in one spot for it to eventually move around the room. And that heat is gonna try to make it to cold air. Or is it vice versa? Maybe cold air tries to make it to warm air. No, it's the hot air tries to make it to cold air, all right? And then, plantation shutters, gorgeous. Same problem. Like the plantation shutters, if you're sitting in front of them, you feel cool, heat still makes it into this space, and it's just cooking in there. So that's doing a couple of things. It's holding that heat that's eventually gonna make it through, and it's just wearing down the windows and the opposite side of the plantation shutters. Here is what I was talking about with that Amazon film. Boom. So this homeowner had the right idea. It's like, we got to stop this heat coming in this window. But he got just a solid black piece of vinyl that, this is that static cling stuff, which I actually don't hate. I think if you're going to try to do it yourself, this is not a bad option. However, it's solid black. This is just solid black vinyl, okay? So, gorgeous view. We want to let that sunlight in, right? So you don't want to just black it out. So blackout does two things. Takes away your view. That it's not a comfortable, open, inviting space when you got this big window and you can't see out of it. Two, black is just gonna absorb heat and hold it right here. And same deal, it's just going to radiate that heat out into the room that it's now holding here instead of hitting you. Now, there is absorptive film that has been engineered to absorb heat instead of reflect it and hold it here without releasing it as much as, you know, like a black vinyl will. The other thing about black vinyl, and the reason you can't use it on a house, especially on double pane glass like this, is because that heat that it holds can stress the seals, and it can break those seals and cause premature seal failure. So seal failure on double pane glass, everybody's seen it, is when glass starts to like fog up and you get that like white foggy mess inside of it. That's what that is. That's seal failure. So somewhere in that double pane glass, it's failed and is letting just tiny little bits of air get in there. And down here in Mobile, especially next to the water where we are, I mean, the bay is like 200 yards that way. The air is ultra humid. And so that air that it's letting in has got humidity. It's got a moisture content in it. It gets up in here and it dries from that heat, and boom, now you got fog. And it's there forever. There's nothing you can do except change the glass. There are some guys somewhere that'll crack it open and clean it and put it back together. But unless it's just a wildly expensive piece of glass, it's never worth it. You just get a new piece of glass. So good idea. But the big thing here is, like, they were stressing, this is the baby's room. Like, it's got to be comfortable in here. Mom wants to hang out. The baby needs to take a nap. It's been just brutal for them. And they didn't know what to do. So these guys actually called us out to do something completely unrelated. We were caulking some windows or something. And somehow I was telling them, like, hey, you know, we also tint windows. And the mom, her, you know, the dad was telling her like, hey, these guys tint windows. And she says, does it help with the heat? I was like, oh yeah, that's the main reason we do it. And she immediately went, good, I want to book it. I was like, well, won't you tell me about your problem first, and then let's see if tint's going to be the right solution, because it isn't always the right solution. But for these windows facing west, baby's room, you tried everything, it's perfect. This is going to change their life for sure. And now, even in the afternoon when the sun's barreling in, they're still going to be able to hang out in here, keep the plantation shutters open, have a nice, open, inviting space, and just be super comfortable. Funny story, when I was growing up north of Dallas in McKinney, my bedroom in our house faced west too. It was almost exactly like this. And we couldn't keep it cool. Like, it was so stinking hot in there that like it was brutal. And my parents installed a ceiling fan. They had the AC guys come out. We just couldn't ever get it to cool off. And my dad, to this day, tells me he still like loses sleep about that, because he knew when he was sleeping downstairs in the nice cool air conditioning in his whitey tighties that I was up there just sweating. Like, it was, I don't know if it ever got below 80 degrees up there in the summer sometimes. And it's kind of funny that now I do this, because this would have solved the problem. And this, was back in the mid 90s, and we certainly didn't know what window tint was. It just wasn't a big thing. And that's the biggest competitor to window tint, is ignorance. People that just don't know that you can tint the windows on your house and that you can stop heat like this. When people think tint, they just think cars, and they think black or dark or we're gonna ruin it. But you'll say, oh look, perfect. Like, I'd already tinted this one the other day just to show them how it's gonna look. And you can see not a dramatic difference in view from the inside, doesn't look dark. This is the film we install on 90% of houses. This is the Avery Dennison OptiShade 15. We love it. We feel like it only enhances the view out, and we'll show you in a second what it looks like from the outside. It is a reflective film, but it's not a full-blown mirror. And when you have double pane glass, it's already got a lot of reflectivity to it, so it doesn't just drastically change. I mean, it changes it a good bit, but not enough to warrant not doing it. And you can also do absorptive films, but absorptive film is like what's on your car. And you can do that because the glass is strengthened. It's tempered or laminated. If you put a dark, non-reflective absorptive film on this glass, it'll do the same thing that this black will, where it can possibly break the seals, because it just holds that heat on there. And the most dangerous thing, especially when they have these trees like this, if one part of the glass is getting hammered with sun and heating up, and then another part is shaded, and those two parts of the glass are very different temperatures, that's when it'll crack. You're like, oh. But we do have non-reflective absorptive film. You just can't go super dark on it. You can only go down to about 40%, where this is a 15%. And that percentage represents VLT, which is visible light transmitted, and that's the amount of light that it lets in. So we see this lets in 15% of the light. So it's an 85% light blockage. But you can see that sure doesn't look like 85%, but that's just how powerful sunlight is, that you can block 85 of it and still get plenty, just like your sunglasses. All right, let's get to it. Dusty doodads out of there. Let's go. Come on.
guess I'd sand it.